As twilight gave way to a star-speckled night, the once bustling city was blanketed in a deep silence. However, there was a corner in the city that wasn't asleep. An old, dilapidated office where Tammy and Mr. Keeb were preparing for their nocturnal mission. "Tammy, we've got less than 3 hours to intercept this package transfer," Mr. Keeb said, his eyes scanning over a digital blueprint of Valley View Mall. 3 hours to save someone's life? "Cabby," Tammy adds solemnly, her gaze fixated on the haunting glow of the laptop screen. The stakes had never been higher. Leaving the office, they made their way back to the abandoned mall. As they navigated the dim, eerie hallways, the sense of urgency weighed heavy in the air. Each ticking second brought them closer to midnight, closer to a new potential victim. In a clandestine corner of the mall, they set up surveillance equipment, each gadget a lifeline in the face of the unknown. Cameras were discreetly planted, audio equipment installed, and a hidden base was established in what was once a cheerful food court. Back in their makeshift command center, they watched and waited. Eyes were trained on screens, streaming real-time footage, ears strained for any irregular noise. Their weapons were technology, intuition, and their unwavering determination. As the minutes slipped away, tension knotted in their stomachs. But just as the clock hit 11:30 p.m., they spotted movement. A group of figures materialized on the screen, their features obscured by the shadows. "Showtime," Tammy muttered, her grip tightening around her device. The figures moved purposefully, their actions synchronized and deliberate. They carried a sense of cold professionalism that sent a chill down Mr. Keeb's spine. With half an hour to spare, they observed the group's actions. They were clearly waiting for something, or someone. And with each passing second, the investigators could feel the packages moving inexorably closer to its dangerous destination. "Cabe," Tammy said, her voice barely above a whisper. "We've got incoming." A van had pulled up to the service entrance, its headlights cut, its engine humming in the quiet night. The group moved towards it, their body language shifting. The moment had come. Tammy and Mr. Cabe were not just observing shadows from the dark web anymore. They were about to collide with them. As the clock edged closer to midnight, they made their move. Silent as wraiths, they positioned themselves, ready to intervene. The next few minutes would either result in a botched operation and a saved life, or their cover being blown and an even more sinister turn of events. In the heart of Valley View Mall, under the blanket of a silent city, a secret battle was underway. It was a race against the clock, a dance on the edge of danger. Tammy and Mr. Keeby were no longer just private investigators. They were the first line of defense in an invisible war. And as the city's clock tower tolled midnight, the second episode of Shadow Network reached its climax. With the strike of the midnight hour, Tammy and Mr. Keeb sprang into action. In a flurry of precision and teamwork, they disrupted the secretive meeting, casting bright lights to disrupt the dark figures. Chaos erupted, shattering the eerie silence of the mall. From their concealed spots, they managed to catch a glimpse of the package. A terrified girl, her eyes wide with fear, the realization of her predicament only just sinking in. They had to act fast. Mr. Cabe, with his years of experience and training, took the lead. Silently moving through the shadows, he intercepted the group's path, creating a diversion that threw their adversaries into confusion. This was the break they needed. Tammy, using the opportunity created by Mr. Keeb's diversion, made her move. Sprinting with all the speed she could muster, she reached the girl. "It's okay," she murmured, trying to soothe the girl's palpable fear. "We're here to help. With no time to lose, she cut the girl's bonds and led her away from the chaotic scene, disappearing into the mall's labyrinthine passages. Meanwhile, Mr. Cabe maintained the diversion, using an array of tech gadgets to keep the group disoriented and delay their pursuit. His heart pounded in his chest as he navigated the precarious situation, buying Tammy and the girl precious time to escape. Finally, when Tammy signaled their safe extraction, Mr. Cabe disengaged, vanishing into the mall's darkness, just as their adversaries started to regain their bearings. The deserted mall was left in a state of disarray, their foes left scrambling in their wake. Back at their makeshift command center, Tammy and the girl huddled together, their breaths coming in harsh gasps, the tension slowly ebbing away. Mr. Cabe joined them shortly, his relief palpable. They had done it. They had saved a life and disrupted a dark web operation. But as the adrenaline began to wear off, they were left with an unsettling reality. Tonight was just a piece of the puzzle, one operation among many. The dark web was vast, its tendrils stretching out to every corner of the world. As they peered deeper into this shadowy world, the gravity of their mission was starting to take hold. Their work was far from over. The enigmatic clues, the failed kidnappings, the dark web connections, it was all just the beginning. The real challenge was yet to come. In the world of the Shadow Network, the only thing certain was uncertainty, as the city around them fell back into its peaceful slumber. Tammy and Mr. Cabe were wide awake, their minds buzzing with a grim determination. The girl, who they later learned was named Mia, was understandably shaken but safe. She was a stark reminder of what was at stake. With each life they managed to save, the resolve of Tammy and Mr. only strengthened. As dawn broke, they escorted Maya to the local authorities, ensuring she was in safe hands and that her ordeal would be over. But for them, their night was a mere prelude to a much larger symphony. Returning to their office, they immediately began digging deeper into the data they had acquired from their daring operation. There had been too many coincidences, too many loose ends. Their instincts, as investigators told them, that there was much more to this story than met the eye. As they scrutinized the strange symbols they had found in the mall, they found themselves drawn into an even deeper web of mystery. The symbols were cryptic and complex, resonating with the same eerie familiarity that the cipher had held. It was like a puzzle piece from a picture they couldn't fully comprehend. However, they weren't without leads. The symbols, the botched kidnappings, the peculiar dark web activity. It all pointed towards a centralized organization, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. The question was, who was the puppet master? As they dug deeper, a name kept surfacing. The Hierophant. It was a moniker, shrouded in mystery, the digital signature of an elusive entity that seemed to be at the center of the web. It was obvious that the Hierophant held many answers, and getting to them would be their next objective. Using the signature as a starting point, they began an exhaustive digital search, tracing the digital footprints back through a maze of servers, proxies, and firewalls. Every trace of the Hierophant was guarded by an impenetrable shield of encryption, a testament to the adversary they were up against. Despite the odds, they pressed on, their determination unwavering. Night turned into day and day into night as they worked tirelessly, picking apart clues and following leads, slowly chipping away at the enigma that was the Hierophant. Meanwhile, the repercussions of their mall operation were beginning to manifest. The media had gotten wind of the botched kidnapping and the strange occurrences at the mall. Speculations and rumors swirled, but the truth of what transpired remained known only to Tammy Mr. Cabe and the rescued girl. The anonymity was a blessing, keeping them safe as they delved deeper into the dark web's underbelly. However, the increasing media attention was a double-edged sword, as it was only a matter of time before the Hierophant would also catch wind of their activities. The race against time was on, and they could only hope they would uncover the truth before the Hierophant struck again. As they worked into the night, the city around them, oblivious to their secret war, the third episode of Shadow Network came to an electrifying close. Their mission was far from over. Their pursuit of justice was now more than just a job. It was a personal battle against the shadows that threatened to engulf the city. The darkness had a name now, the Hierophant, and bringing it to light was the only way to safeguard their city. And so, armed with their unwavering resolve, their technological prowess, and their burning quest for justice, Tammy and Mr. Keeb prepared themselves for what was to come. The Shadow Network's web had just begun to unravel, and they were at the very heart of one thread at a time. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Tammy and Mr. Keeb dived headlong into the Shadow Network's labyrinth, their search for the Hierophant taking them deeper into the digital underworld than ever before. Each step brought new challenges, but also new discoveries, slowly helping them to piece together the puzzle that had been plaguing their city. It wasn't long before they started noticing a pattern. The kidnappings, the cryptic symbols, the Hierophant's digital footprint. Everything pointed towards an intricate operation that spanned far beyond their city's borders. They were dealing with something much bigger than they had initially suspected. The realization hit them hard, but also brought with it a new determination. The lives they were saving were not just those of their fellow city dwellers. They were potentially thwarting a global criminal network. In the midst of their investigation, Tammy and Mr. Cabe also focused on protecting their identities. With each step forward, they knew the risks were growing. The Hierophant, whoever they were, was bound to retaliate, and they had to be ready. Mr. Cabe used his tech expertise to create multiple layers of digital protection, ensuring that their operation remained hidden from the prying eyes of the Shadow Network. They also set up physical security measures, transforming their office into a fortified base of operations. Meanwhile, Tammy used her intuition and street smarts to stay one step ahead of their adversary. She established a network of contacts, gathering information and keeping a close watch on the city's pulse. They worked tirelessly, the line between night and day blurring. Sleep was scarce, their minds constantly buzzing with theories, strategies, and solutions. But they were making progress. Their breakthrough came on a stormy night when, after hours of relentless work, they managed to decrypt a significant part of the symbols. They pointed towards an ancient underground society, one that held power and influence over the digital world and beyond. A society known only by their emblem, the Hierophant. This revelation was a game changer. The criminal network they were dealing with was not just a band of opportunistic thugs, but an organized global operation with roots deeper than they could have imagined. The Hierophant wasn't a single person, but an embodiment of an organization that operated in shadows, stretching its influence across the globe. But despite the magnitude of their discovery, they were not deterred. If anything, it solidified their resolve. They knew that their mission was bigger than they had ever imagined, but so was their determination. They wouldn't stop until the Hierophant's operations were brought down. Knowing their adversary, however, was only half the battle. To dismantle such an extensive network, they needed a strategy, a plan that could help them strike at the heart of the Hierophant's operations. In the following days, they painstakingly built a detailed map of the Hierophant's network using the information they had. They identified key nodes and potential weaknesses, meticulously planning a synchronized attack that could disrupt the network, hopefully long enough to expose the organization's deeds to the world. As the day of their planned attack neared, they were prepared for the worst. They knew that they were poking a sleeping beast and that their actions would not go unnoticed. But they were ready. They had seen what the Hierophant was capable of, and they couldn't stand by while innocent lives were endangered. The night of the operation arrived, a momentous point in their fight against the Hierophant. They had a plan, they had each other, and most importantly, they had the will to see this through. As the city's clock tower chimed midnight, marking the start of their operation, the fourth episode of Shadow Network began in earnest, setting the stage for a clash that would echo across the dark web and beyond. If you enjoyed this episode, check out episode 3 that will pop up on the screen.